Hello there, and we're back with Ordo Draconis after my unit video, and let's get into the campaign itself. So as before, as I've always done in these type of videos, done my unit over guide, which I'll pop in the top right hand corner for a link if you want to see that first. And here we're just going to go over the campaign map, and then I'll go through the skill trees, and we'll have a look at the technology tree as well. But first, let's have a look at the campaign map. So, no great surprise where you start. Castle Temperhof. But you do start off with a couple of regions, or provinces. So you got Waldorf, Eschen, Castle Temperhof, and Fort here. And with only these two, Western and Eastern Slovenia, you have to take. Oh, well, and I'll show you my campaign which I'm running through at the moment, which I do for every single one of these single things. As a side note, as I think I mentioned in my unit video, I have played this mod quite a lot, but mainly in the old Warhammer days, the first Warhammer. I was a big fan of this mod. I thought it was an interesting take on the vampire counts. And then if you've seen the unit video, and you should see that, of course, that's got the units, as you can see these, for Disciples of Death and Football Knights, which is obviously your starting army, which you get with Abarosh. They're very unique, because they're very little number, but very powerful and very expensive, as in these are 380 and 217. So speaking of, let's just get into this video and show where we're at. So nothing major. I don't really need to go over the campaign map at all, because you know where Western and Eastern Slovenia are. You're of course at war with Castle Draconis and the main vampire count faction, but you're not with the Van Karsten family. So that's interesting. So you can actually negotiate a deal with them if you want to. But of course that doesn't mean you can't take this province completely. And then of course you just take Draconis, and from there, do whatever you like really. I've always liked going against the Empire with my vampire playthroughs. Or sometimes I go in search of the dwarves and just burn all the holds, because, you know, fun. Even though I do like a dwarf. I'm a big fan of dwarves as a faction. So the units you get at the start. So as I said, we get Abarosh, and I'll go through a skill tree later. You also get a secondary army, led by another vampire. In this case, Ddraig the Stickler. Interesting name. And a very basic army for him. So nothing major with that army, and you got basic raised dead options. Cash flow's not too bad as well, not too bad at all. But let's have a quick look at Castle Temperhof itself and see if there's any unique buildings. And while we're here, I can show you how you get all your Blood Knight new units. So as you can see, there's two brand new, three more brand new building types. Ordo Draconis, the Coral, or the Corral even, the Infantry Chain, and another Conclave, and the Hall there. When it comes to the Legendary Hordes, as you remember from my other video, that there is a couple of extra Legendary Hordes other than Abarosh, and you need that building, I believe, to unlock one of them, and the other one is an event which happens in the game. So Forester, Amber, and Woodshed, so all this is the standard stuff, and for these you need various technology research, and we'll go into Tech Tree in a bit. And that one needs the armories, and then of course you need the Western Brothers again, and finally Western Brothers. It's one of my favourite units, Wing Nightmares, a brilliant unit. And basically the Western Brothers was unlocks up this tree, and then the rest you just need the various armories. Other than that, there is no other. You still get the Blood Knights in the old-fashioned way, but they are down this tree if memory serves. Yes, there they are. So you have to wait as young, praying as this faction to get Blood Knights, which, as we all know, a brilliant unit. But slightly overshadowed with the rest of the units, yet to be fair. So that's the basic quick look at the building tree, and that this building and these buildings can be built in any of the main faction or main settlements. So any tier 5 buildings has possibility to build these various new buildings. And we got Ordo Draconis trophy building as well. Adds a bit of income and reduces Blood Knight units. Not bad, I think. Nothing massive, but every little helps. And it's only 6,000, so it's not too bad. Back to the main screen. And that's pretty much, I think, all I've got to say about the map. It's nothing special because it's not a whole new starting location for the vampires. All it is a complete rework of this part, and you did all those 4 regions. So with that, let's go on to the tech tree. So here we are, Ordo Draconis tech tree. Most of it's the same. So you got top left, all the zombie and skeleton things, graveyard, etc. All the bonuses. Similar for the bottom left, which is all the campaign buffs, and yep, pretty much all the same. But it's your middle bit. So we have the Ordo Draconis knowledge. So this increases research rate, unit experience, upkeep, and recruitment cost. But as you can see, there's a negative part of this, where it increases your upkeep of skeleton warriors and zombies. So just be aware of that. And then it slowly builds up. So you got your death, cooldowns, and your vampires as you go more in the melee focused Ordo Draconis knowledge, Ordo Draconis faction side. And of course, but yes, upkeep on the Blood Knights units and put a bit more armor. Then you got more militarism, again, more negative and positives. So you can just go for your mix of the various. You only have to go so far if you don't want to get too expensive with the upkeep of grave guards and things like that. Up to you. And then finally, more upkeep, but more melee attack and melee defense. But of course, more upkeep on even more powerful of the undead factions units. Moving across, Western Brothers, which I've just been over in the first part of this video. That just shows you all about just unlocks those 4 units. A vital thing, and only 5,000. Not too bad. Easily makeable. And the last is the Way of Dragons. So you got 2 different options. So more growth, but yes, vampire corruption. Yes, growth, but more vampire corruption in adjacent provinces. So a bit more of a boost there. Wooing feeders. Again, vampire corruption and upstanding bloody iron. More growth. So it depends which one you go into down like that particular time. And that is pretty much just those subtle changes of tech tree. Just to give the Ordo Draconis a bit more buffs in various places, as it give you a few more choices in your playthrough. So let's take a look at Abarosh's skill tree. So before I go into that, I just wanted to point out this. Enemy wings of magic power reserve -8 and upkeep for disciples units -50%. Very nice bonus for his particular army, and very handy indeed, because Blood Knight units are expensive. So let's go down to skills. So on the whole, various things as per normal. Got usually Blood Dragon there. But other than that, pretty similar. And the Immortal Horror. Always nice. Then of course you got your particular army buffs, so various things. You got a couple of buffs of Blood Knights, nothing massive there. And a melee attack there, so you got speed and melee attack. And Vampire Coast, so that adds more bonuses to the Blood Knights. Ooh, wrong way. And then you got Magical Animus, which adds more leadership. Always good in the undead faction. And then Undeath Resurgent. +16 and plus melee defense, very nice indeed. Then he's got an extra bit, he's got a Venerable Commander, fucking followers, so all these are mainly all to do with the various Blood Knight units, and that's how you get Draconis Castellan, so that adds his hero capacity. Brethren in Arms, income from trade. So there is a bit of a history with Abarosh and the Bretonnian Yans. Whether you go down that side, I haven't in my playthrough because, as you saw from the old world, Slovenia and Bretonnia are pretty much the other side, so it's not exactly the easiest thing to get to. And because that the Ordo Draconis and that Slovenia have no ports, getting a trade route with them is not easy. I would say it's possible, but you have to take out the Empire, and Bretonnian Empire have got a bit of a history of being quite good mates, so difficult one to do, but if you can get it, 100% bonus to trade is very, very powerful. Anyway, moving on. Ancient Unity, Martial Master, as I've pointed out, Abarosh was a combat pretty much monster, and this just adds to his bonuses. And then Legendary Presence, very nice indeed. So let's look down his particular abilities for his actual melee stats, which are already powerful, and they can get pretty ridiculous as I move down. So I'm just quick over these. You can read them yourself, and you get the picture, I think. And he asked me about Yeast. We'll go through the top. So what Serpentine Quest, a very nice ability, massive AP and bonus to inventory. Summer's Armour, which I've been through before. Cook for the Queen's Captain, a unique item. You can be mounted on a horse, which, if you want him to run with his fellow blood dragons, that is quite a cool thing to do. Put Abarosh on the front and have them grouped up behind him. Very thematic. Grave Ward and then the Dragon Slayer, so add a bit of bonus to charge as well, and melee attack. And that is Abarosh's skill tree. So that's of course the Warharkin's skill tree, and before we get started, I just want to point this out. He is the Grand Master of the Ordo Draconis, so he has melee attack and defense plus 8 for embedded standard bearers, which is okay, but as you know their stats are pretty terrible anyway, so it's a reasonable increase to say the least. But I'll definitely run one of those standard bearers with this character, but not a massive increase, but you do get a +2 for Blood Knight recruits, so that's really nice. Onto his skill tree. He does have the Vampire Ore, which I can't remember if I said in my unit video he didn't, because I know Abarosh doesn't, but Warhammer does. Let's go for pick out the various things as usual. So we've got the Founder of the Order, so a nice decrease in the Order Draconis military buildings and recruitment cost, which is very nice. And that's all armies faction wide, so that's very powerful. And that's only 2 skill points in, so that's pretty good. And moving swiftly on, nothing much there, a bit of growth and the usual things, nothing special there. We obviously have the usual abilities, and you have Blood Knight Boasts and the Waking Dead, so Back Knights and Blood Knights. So these are all the same as, I believe, Abarosh, so that's not too bad. Of course his magic, and anything interesting in his little unique bits up here. Not much. Got Bloodiest, that's actually quite good. Single-handed Sorcerer, and some nice boosts here, very nice. Terror's always handy. Heart Piercing, I do like that ability, really gives a massive damage boost, and if he's on if he's on a Barb Nightmare, that's very powerful. And an extra big ability, so I can target particular units, which takes over the Bloodiest skill. Let's make the top bit. So we've got the Blood Dragon Standard, so that's the one you've seen on the various, the Blood Standard Bearer hero. Can't get my words out. Quest for a Crimson Braid ability, No Mercy, very nice. Warwick Bloody Hellberg, nice bit of armour, +20 armour and +20% ward save is very powerful, that's very good. Moving on. Blood Chalice, nice replenishment, very good. Map Ride as well, and then boost fire damage, so that's very powerful. A mount, and he has his own Skeletal Dragon, Yovri. Wow of Knighthood, so a nice bit of leadership and damage resistance for himself only. Sway of Champions, because he was a very powerful vampire lord, and of course a Blood Knight, so that's plus strength to everybody pretty much. And that stacks up, there's got a plus strength enough when fighting against, and that's just normal. What about 20%, assuming we can work that out? Don't think it is. No, it's not. Interesting. And of course the mortality which he has anyway. So very good, and that's his skill tree. So let's have a look at the very unique Blood Dragon Standard Bearer skill tree. And Mr. Webber here. So, interesting things. As I mentioned in my unit guide, that this particular unit, this particular hero even, hasn't got the greatest stats in the world, but he provides an interesting skill tree, and I'll just take you through it now. Now the bottom bit is pretty much something you've seen from every hero in the game. It's pretty much standard stuff. But as you can see, this is completely different to the one you've seen before. So you can add him as yoke, you can add more growth to yoke province, stacked 3 times. So you can also get to 30. Corruption as well. And landscape planning. So if you want him to be a bit of a stay-at-home hero, you can add all that. Or if you want him to run with the army, add that and give him 10% army, 10% movement. And every little bit helps with the campaign movement, I've always found. So you got military logistics, so various military bonuses. So now you've got upkeep, recruitment cost, or casualty replacement. Very handy. So like that is for when he's obviously with the army. And all of these are when he's with armies. This one you can just go down if he's going to be more of a stay-at-home lord or stay-at-home hero. Maybe running with an army, maybe not. And adding more training to that particular one, or assault garrisons. It all depends on how you want to use this particular character. Personally, I like to prefer to run with them in a group, with an army, because I think it just makes more sense for them. And I do like put them on the Barbed Nightmare and run them with cavalry. It makes them very powerful because they got the dragon standard, increasing their speed, making them really, really good. Speaking of, so you can add plus 3% weapon strength to the Blood Knights units. So also this boosts his own abilities, just to point that out. Not much, because as you can see, his abilities are not exactly high. His hits really hard though. So breaking the irons, your brothers in darkness, adding more melee defense. Up to 9, I presume? No, 12 it is actually. That's pretty high. 12 on Blood Knight units, which are really, really tough anyway. That's pretty devastating. Or pretty tough, let's be honest. So we got leadership. And the last one is armour. 12 is not too bad, but melee defense is a very good one. So that's just a quick look at the Blood Drag stand bearer. An interesting hero. I usually have one. I don't usually run with many of them, but up to you. You can always have one in each army. And who doesn't have a zombie griffin? Let's be fair. Okay, and here we are on my current campaign. So, if people haven't seen me do these mod overalls before, I usually go through the unit guide, which you've already seen, and hopefully you've seen, and then I go through all the various parts of the actual map itself, the campaign, how the new faction plays, or whatever mod I'm covering. And at this point, I use the one I've been testing with, and testing a few abilities, and testing it out, and see how I'm getting on. Well, this has gone, well, to dwarf hell, apparently. So how do we get here? Well, to be honest, I made a couple of mistakes, as you might have guessed. But one of the big ones, I decided to go after the vampire counts first. Which, on the whole, was a good move. So, first off, because you start here with these 4, as you've already seen, went over here and took Castle Draconis as soon as I could. So, took 2 armies, which you start off with, and took them out pretty easily. Held Castle Draconis, good start. I then pushed down south after a couple of turns just to get a bit of money. And Schwarzhoff in here. The vampire coast is left undefended pretty much. So I thought, well, strike while the iron's hot, took that. And I thought, well, that's it. Those have gone. And unbeknownst to me, they had moved southwards and have just disappeared. They held this one as well, so I took that. Quite late on. And they're somewhere down here now. I'm not exactly sure where. So, Vrad and Cohen all down there. They did a few counters. Isabella came up here and tried to take some of its settlement here. Pushed her back. So everything was going quite well. I had Sylvania to myself. I had a local outpost here just a bit of extra cash. Wasn't particularly necessary. Possibly should have abandoned this in hindsight, because I didn't really need to do it. I had some greenskins here, so I thought I'll go there, raise that, get a bit more extra cash, which I didn't get actually that much cash for. And then the dwarves declared war. And I thought, well, okay, there's a couple of stacks here. I thought that I can cope. I left all my armies back here to defend Castle Draconis, which, as you can see, well, did have a reasonably good army. But they came in with 2 massive stacks, and it might, it wasn't this one, it was led by Thorgrim himself. And I think, yeah, Thorgrim and another army. And there was just too many of them. It was a rare thing to say about dwarves, but there were just too many of them. I couldn't hold them back on the walls. I fought it over the siege battle. I just could not hold them back. I didn't have enough, pretty much meat in my army. Which is a problem with this faction, because the Ordo Draconis, as you've seen, the unit sizes are very small. And that particular army was quite weak, really. I wish I'd spent a bit more money. That was the other mistake. I was hoarding too much money. I was trying to build up the settlements here and here and make Slovenia a real fortress, which I had to a point. But now the dwarves destroyed that. Then Thorgrim came over here and tried to take me on again. I beat him back with Abosh. This is why this army is a bit depleted. And then straight after, these two have come in. And there's Grombrindle and a generic order. What level was he, by the way? 8. Great. And I thought, shall I go back to a previous save? I thought, no. We'll just end the video here with that. I just can't beat that. I don't think even if I did the siege fight, I don't think I could beat that, because this is severely depleted after that previous attack. Yeah, so I thought I might continue this campaign briefly and see if I can salvage it, but this army is not exactly the strongest. Oh, Ddraig here, he's a new one. So, yeah, that's pretty much the size of my old campaign. A bit of a mistake, and I got a few in the last time I did one of these. I ended up in a sour note as well, so I need to stop doing this. Okay, so I'll just finish the video. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.